Here's why you should buy an '03 or any early 2000 Chevy Impala powered by the 3.8 liter V6 engine. If you're looking for a first car, reliable winter beater, something that's reliable and is going to get you from point A to point B for many years to come, I would look no further than an early 2000s Chevy Impala or a Buick Regal or trying to think what else, Pontiac Grand Prix, Pontiac Bonneville. Yeah, I think. Sorry if I misspoke any of those. Any of those cars that are powered by the 3.8 liter V6 engine from the early 2000s tend to be very reliable cars. This just so happens to be a 2003 Chevy Impala LS. Usually the LS models are the ones that came with the 3.8. Some rare, but some SS models, you don't see them as much. The SS models a lot of times had the 3.8 liter supercharged V6 rather than the basic 3.8. Now this car we've actually owned for 8 years now. We picked it up at a police impound auction. So this was a police impound at one point. My dad gave $750 for it, and we've had it for a total for, like I said, 8 years now. And it's been very dependable for us. He's done minimal maintenance and repairs, basic wear parts, alternators, belts, things that typically go bad at higher mileage. This car got me through my driver's test. It's got him from point A to point B for many years. And for those of you that know me in real life, know that I just sold my 2017 Chevy Malibu, and in the process of getting my square body reliable, it's now LS swapped. So in the meantime, I've been dailying this car as he's got an 08 SS now. So that being said, I'll go ahead and give you a better look at this car. Again, this is an '03 Chevy Impala. I'm not sure what years they kept the 3.8 in these. I know a lot of them had like I think it was a 3.5, which wasn't as good. Now the transmissions in these aren't spectacular. Sometimes they do fail at lower miles. This one, on the other hand, is actually very high mileage. It does have a check engine light on for some dumb stuff. A couple other lights on. Nothing major. Okay, so this is what the interior of the car looks like. A little wore out, like I said, it's an older car. Leather interior. No heated seats or anything fancy like that. Go ahead and start it up here. Fire's right up. It does have a misfire right now. It needs a tune up. However, this car has a whopping 304,648 miles on the dash. Again, that's the original engine, original transmission, no rebuilds, basic service. And I mean, it's been really reliable all this time. Like I said, I've got a traction control light on, an ABS check engine light. I know it needs a wheel speed sensor, and it's got a couple evap codes. But again, extremely reliable. This model has a sunroof, tells you your range, things of that nature. And so this one does feature the 3.8 liter V6. This engine actually was recalled. Some models had defective intakes, and they were known to come apart. This one didn't have the recall for the intake, but it did have a recall for an oil leak. This one actually hasn't had the recall serviced yet. We just never saw a need to because we do our own maintenance. So a lot of these nowadays, if they've had the recall done, you'll have the little recall stickers and whatnot, and they'll be missing the engine cover as well as the oil fill extension housing. Because what the dealer does for this recall is they replace the valve cover gasket, remove the oil extension tube and the engine cover, because these little extension housings are known to leak, and the valve covers on these some models, they were warped and they needed a new gasket as well. So part of the recall, they would normally replace those. So if you see one of these cars and it's missing those, just know that's probably why. Nothing spectacular to look at. It's an ugly old V6 with over 300,000 miles. But it's relatively easy to work on. Back plug's a little hard to get to. Front ones are right there. But the coil pack's right up front, so it's easy to maintain. Alternator's right on top, that's easy to change. He has put a radiator hose on it before. He's had a radiator hose go bad, which is expected at 300,000 miles. Again, you're talking very minimal maintenance for a car that has over 300,000 miles on it. So it's obviously in Ohio. We're in Ohio, so the car has rust. He hit a deer with it at one point, which is why the hood's bent, the fender's dented, bumper's cracked. But still, $750 for the car. 8 years ago, well over 300,000 miles, and still running strong. Okay, so as I was saying, if you're looking for a dependable car that'll last you a long time with minimal maintenance, look for any of the older GM cars with the 3.8 liter V6. That's the most important part. If it has the 3.8 liter V6, 3800 series V6 engine that they put in these cars. If you find a supercharged one, great, then you have a pretty quick supercharged V6 car. These ones come stock. This one comes about 200 horsepower stock. Supercharged, I believe, is like I want to say like 230. Could be wrong in those numbers. Nothing spectacular. Again, it's an older car. But still, very reliable, very cheap to maintain, and they'll probably get you well over 300,000 miles if taken care of. So if you're in the market for a cheap, dependable car, look no further than an older GM, Grand Prix, Regal, Impala. I think there's, like I said, the Bonneville, and I think there might be a couple other cars that had this engine. I'm a little fuzzy on which ones came with what, but I know this one for sure has been very good to us, and I know other people have had them with very high mileage. So again, it's not the nicest looking car, but at the end of the day, if it gets you to point A to point B, that's all that really matters. You can save the cool cars for your projects. In my case, like I said, this is just a daily until this thing's back on the road. That's all I have for today, guys. Hope you enjoy the video, and I hope you'll consider getting one of these cars if you're in the market. Obviously, prices are up in today's economy, and you'll be looking at a little higher prices than the $750 that my dad gave way back. But at the end of the day, you can still pick these up relatively cheap. I've seen them for anywhere from $1,500 to $2,500 on Marketplace, depending on the mileage, condition, and things of that nature. So if you're interested, take a look around your local listings, Craigslist, Facebook, etc., and see what you can find. That's all for today, guys. Thanks.